Welcome to the very first episode of Hormones and Heels. Today, we're kicking off with a very powerful conversation about breaking the silence around menopause and why so many women feel invisible during this stage of life. In this episode, we'll explore why menopause has been treated as such a taboo, how it affects confidence, self-image, and most importantly, how you can reclaim your visibility, power, and self-worth during this transformational time. By the end of this episode, you'll walk away with actionable steps to feel seen, valued, and empowered on your own terms. Let's get started. Welcome to the very first episode of Hormones and Heels. We're both so excited to be here. I'm Shabrina, and this is my co-host, Sandra.
Hi, everyone. We are so delighted to be here recording our first episode. We can't believe we are here, right, Shabrina?
Of course. Should we tell the listeners why we called our episode Hormones and Heels?
Definitely, yeah. Yeah, I think like our aim is to combine our expertise, right? So to really like not just having a podcast about hormones and the symptoms, or not just having a podcast about style. It's about like what's going on for women as a whole during that period of time.
Yes.
So it's about hormone, but it's not just about hormones.
Right.
Right?
It's about empowering women with the knowledge and with confidence to step into this new version of themselves as they navigate perimenopause.
Exactly. We want to have a holistic approach, but in the same time, it's not just what happened inside our body, but it's as well what happened
outside.
Right?
Yes.
So it's really like inside and out vision of what's going on for us as women.
Yes. And the mind
definitely
is so powerful during this phase of life too. And, you know, your style can impact your mind, and your mind can impact your style, and the same thing with, you know, with your health. So it's really, as you said, about the whole woman.
Yeah, it's body, mind, spirit, style, with humor, with laughter, with wisdom.
Why is menopause so under discussed, and why is there so much silence around it? I feel like it's becoming more discussed, and we're seeing lots more chatter about it in the media, but it's taken us so many years to get here.
Definitely. I think like we live in a culture of youth. You know, I think like around us, there is a culture of like aging is not embraced that much. It starts getting embraced, but it's not really yet the case, right?
Yes.
And I think like it's a phase of life where we need to embrace what we are getting through because of body change. And it's about like getting through that period of time and embracing all the symptoms we are getting through.
Yes, I agree with you.
With grace, right? And with like not resisting what we are experiencing, what we experience.
And then there's been this cultural silence, because I remember when I was growing up, my mum may have talked a little bit about menopause, but it wasn't really directly. It, you know, it may have been, oh, I'm having a hot flush or something. But we never sat down and had the conversation, hey, this is what's going through. This is why I'm acting this way. This is what I'm feeling. And so I think for everyone in our generation, there's like, what's going to happen to me? Am I going to, you know, how am I going to experience these symptoms? And, you know, what do you think, Sandra?
You remind me of something, a very funny episode. You know, like when my mom was going through menopause, we were working together. I was in my 20s, and it was like my first professional experience. And then when I remember we were working in an open space, and she was telling us all the time, please open the window, it's hot in here. And it was -5, you know, it was, we were in the middle of the winter. So this is what I remember about menopause, you know, like my mom getting...
Did she ever talk about it? Or she just said, open the window,
Yeah, no, she was saying, yeah, I feel hot, like that's it. No, I don't think like she really get through much more details.
Yeah. It's sad in a way, because all these women were just like dealing with it silently. we were all seeing the physical symptoms, but none of, the emotional that went on when our mothers, our grandmothers were all going through menopause.
But do you think we had like more information when we got pregnant, or when we gave birth, or all the turmoil postpartum? Did you have any information about it?
No.
We didn't, right? It
no,
was
we
taboo
didn't.
as
we
well.
We didn't. It was like it's going to happen and let's see, when you're there. It wasn't like you're preparing for it. And, taking me back to a story, I remember when I was pregnant with my first child and I gave birth, and then it came to the breastfeeding, and I was very much, adamant I was going to breastfeed. And nobody told me how painful it was going to be. I remember going to the clinic, the breastfeeding clinic in the hospital, and the lady said you should have been putting olive oil on your nipples. And I was like, why didn't anyone tell me that? That would toughen it up. And it was the most painful thing. And I can't believe that this small piece of information could have been shared with me just to make my experience so much more, enjoyable as I was breastfeeding. But I had to learn about it and go through trial and error, which I think menopause is for all of us right now, right? Where, it's like the wild, wild west.
Exactly.
Yes.
So shall we explain to our listeners why we created this podcast, Hormones and Heels, right?
Yes. So we really felt like menopause, both of us have experienced our symptoms, but the biggest gap that we've seen is how to alleviate your symptoms, but also what about the emotional aspects of going through menopause, how it will, knock your confidence, your self-esteem, how the changes, impact you in every aspect of your life.
Yeah, exactly. I think we want really to provide that education, that knowledge, but in the same time we want to do it with laughter. We want to bring style, right, Shabrina?
Yes, we do.
And we want to bring that wisdom.
Yes.
Because I think like menopause lasts for 10 years and can start even at 35, 38 years old. And we want women to know the facts. We want women to be empowered with knowledge to be able to get through it, not just by chance, just arriving there at that period of life and thinking, oh my God, what's going on? I was talking to a client yesterday. I said, she told me like, I didn't even realize I was perimenopausal.
Yeah.
You explain me now that I'm perimenopausal. I didn't realize that all my symptoms were perimenopausal.
Yeah.
So there's a big gap, right?
Because we don't even know, right? That something's changed in our body, but we don't even associate it to perimenopause. The other thing I was going to say, Sandra, is that, this podcast isn't just about, okay, let's deal with the symptoms. More importantly, it's about thriving through menopause, because once we feel educated and we know how to move forward, we're able to then embrace this phase. And, we say, reclaim your power.
Yeah, exactly. We want to celebrate that phase of life, reinvent ourselves if needed for certain women, and be fully true to ourselves.
Yeah.
Because I think like that's it. We don't want to be told anymore. We are in our 40s, in our 50s. We don't want to be told anymore what to do, what to think, how to behave, what to look like. We just need to be ourselves.
Yes, I agree with that.
Right?
I completely agree with that. It would be great if you tell the listeners more about you and what you do and your background. This is not your first career. You're a functional practitioner and kinesiologist. You came from a different background, and it would be great for you to share.
Yes. So I started my career in real estate in France. I'm French. You can all hear, right?
Yes, definitely.
I can't hide my accent. So I started in real estate, and then I ended up living in Asia for 13 years, in Singapore and in Hong Kong. Mainly in Hong Kong, where I discovered energy medicine, traditional Chinese medicine, Ayurvedic medicine, a world where prevention is a key word, right? Where everyone takes care of themselves without a doubt. They are going to see an acupuncturist every week, without being healed. Because if you go to see an acupuncturist and you are healed, it means like the doctor failed, basically,
Yes.
you know, because he didn't manage to keep you in good health. So I started being very interested into all those type of medicine. I went through my personal like challenges in terms of health. I used to suffer from endometriosis. I had debilitating symptoms, and I find some answers through those traditional medicines. I started studying kinesiology, neuroenergetic kinesiology in Asia. I became a kinesiologist. I retrained as an executive coach as well. And then over the years,
Voila.
I introduced nutrition because I was very passionate about like diet and lifestyle. I realized it was really important, and functional medicine. So really like I have a 360-degree view on a person. I'm a health detective in a way, and I combine really energy medicine with functional medicine to go to the root cause of what's going on for a woman.
Right. And you mainly work with women?
Mainly not work
during
with
this
women.
phase
Definitely.
of their life?
So I work with women that are tired, that are exhausted, that are overwhelmed, don't know what to do with themselves, don't understand what's going on, what worked before don't work anymore. And I support them to be at their best and to radiate and to have their energy back, to be able to operate in all areas of their life, basically. So that's the idea. But it's really like, I love a quote from Dr. Gabor Mate that you might know, extracted from one of his books, that says, we need not to abandon the great achievement of medical work to honor traditional wisdom. We can embrace both.
Yes.
And I think I apply this philosophy on a daily basis through my work,
right,
and through the support that I bring to women.
Because there's so much you can do with nutrition to alleviate your physical symptoms.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Diet and lifestyle is our key to be able to alleviate symptoms.
Yeah. And you and I were discussing this yesterday, that a lot of women, when perimenopause hits, it hits them really hard because they haven't been looking after themselves, and they've been looking after everyone else.
Yes.
And, you know, what they want to eat, picking them up. You know, also perimenopause can happen at a time where, you know, we also have to look after our elderly parents who have quite lovingly taken care of us in our early years. So it's a time where we need to refocus our energy on ourselves. Would you agree with that?
100%.
Yeah.
I hear so many women in clinical practice that are saying, I don't take care of myself, I don't have time. And I think like it's a moment of life where you didn't take care of yourself before, or when you forgot yourself, let's put it that way, right?
Yes.
Yeah, when you forgot yourself, you have to take care of yourself, because whatever you didn't dealt with, whether physically, emotionally, will come back as a boomerang to you.
Yeah, I agree. And there's no time too early. Like, even if you're not experiencing perimenopause, you know, you can start making the changes in health and lifestyle.
Definitely. So Shabrina, your turn, please. I would like to know more about you. Why you became this amazing like image consultant, coach.
Thank you, Sandra.
I know you lived in New York, so
Yes.
we are quite international here. So tell us about you.
Yeah, so I never work, like, this is my second career, same like you. I used to be in consulting. I moved to New York and I was, I think, 8 months pregnant, and I left my job, which is a story for another podcast, why I left my job. But then I was left, 8 months pregnant. The baby came early, and soon enough, I'd gone from full-time working to full-time mom. And my biggest struggle was getting dressed every morning. Like, I had no idea how to dress for my new life. I was very confused with my style. I no longer had clothes that worked for me, and I just didn't have the confidence. And I think lots of new moms go through this stage in their life where their wardrobe, doesn't support their everyday what's going on. Like, I had no need for all my cute work outfits anymore. Anyway, I struggled with this for quite a few, months. And then I think when my daughter was 3 months old, I'd had enough. I was sick and tired of pulling everything out my wardrobe, trying things on, and then leaving the house, not feeling like the confident person I was. So I just decided one day when she was napping at 9 a.m., I took out all my clothes and just went through a really good detox and just got rid of everything, put it in bags and, took it out right away because I knew I just needed to move on. And then for a next nap, I went out shopping and just bought myself a few things that fit me, like yoga pants, something simple, like having, cute workout pants and tops and sneakers and, jeans that weren't low rise and showed everything, when I was playing with the baby. So I just had a few things and I just felt so much more confident. My husband noticed my confidence and I just felt empowered to go out and meet friends and make new mum friends. And I didn't have any friends up until that point because I had been full-time working and traveling with my job. And now I was in this whole new phase. But I felt empowered in this new phase with, my new clothing and, just not the stress of looking in my wardrobe and trying to figure out how to make my old life, work for my new life. Anyway, a lot of mums noticed, this confidence and they asked me to do it for them. So I was doing it just as, like a fun hobby. And then my husband turned around to me and he's like, why don't you make a business into this? And I was like, oh, wow, this could be my next phase of life. So I did. I came to London and I did an image consulting course. And I'd actually been doing a few courses at FIT in New York too.
Amazing.
And I just felt like I needed the certification and I wanted to learn about color and fit and, why pieces work on different body shapes. And then I came back armed with all this knowledge and started my own business. And I've been doing it for over 10 years. And for me, it really is about empowering women with their own style, making them feel good about themselves, dressing for their bodies right now, finding the colors that light them up. And, really it's about that everyday style, like being able to get dressed every day and feeling, the best version of yourself. So,
amazing.
yes.
Amazing. Shabrina, should we tell a little bit of how we met and how we decided to launch this podcast?
Yes. So Sandra and I met at a networking meeting. Her and I were sitting next to each other and we were talking about our missions and how we empower women. Both of us had a very similar objective, but we also said a lot of the women that we're working with more recently are women going through menopause. And we were like, there's something here. There's a collaboration that we can, make happen. So we talked about it more. And over the last, it's been maybe 6 months, we've actually just launched our workshop From Invisible to Visible, which is starting next week, where we have a community of women where we're taking them through our 4-week course, which we'll talk about more later. But it really then came about that we really wanted to share our message too. And we wanted to bring more visibility to menopause and not just the physical, but the emotional impact that it can have on a woman's life and really break the silence, get the conversation started. And with that, Sandra, why don't we talk to our listeners about our menopause journey and what we went through? Because I think that's such an important part to start the conversation. So Sandra, let's start with you.
I started my menopause journey, my perimenopausal journey, quite early in my 40s. And I think at the time, I was like everyone, even though I had some knowledge, I didn't realize straight away that I was getting through that period of life. So I was a little bit more tired.
Was that the first symptom you had? Was like the tiredness, or you can't pinpoint it?
I can't really pinpoint it, but I think when I was drinking alcohol, I couldn't recover that easily. My period were heavier. And then I started having a little bit of anxiety with no reason, or maybe with reasons, but it wasn't really me. And I decided, you know what? I think this time it's not going to happen like previously with like all my experiences, like with endometriosis. This time I'm going to take it from the beginning. I'm going to work on myself. I'm going to implement the changes that I need to implement. And I don't want to live with those symptoms. I started having a couple of hot flashes at night that were waking me up. I said, there's no way I live like that. I don't want to live like that. So I was very adamant that I will find the way for me to feel at my best and not having those symptoms. And I did it. And I don't have any hot flashes.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's one of the biggest symptoms that can really break down a woman's confidence.
Yeah, and I did it for diet and lifestyle modification. And it works. Every woman is different. Some women can have like a lot of symptoms. Some women have less symptoms. But to be honest with you, I think like there are a lot of things that can be done because we need to change the way we live. We can't operate the same way. Not at all, right? And what about yours, Shabrina? Tell us about yours.
Yeah, so I feel like I've started my perimenopause journey. Maybe I really couldn't say because some of the symptoms are so subtle, but it could be a year ago. But one of the first things that I noticed, like I did see my periods changing, but one of the first things I noticed was I looked in the mirror and I saw my stomach and I was like, oh my God, what is going on there? Because it never was like that before. And I had this conversation with some of my girlfriends. Maybe that's one of the things I noticed first because I do a lot of, talking on body shape. And I remember during COVID, I did an online workshop on dressing for your body shape. And we were talking about body shape and how it really doesn't change. Like, it's your architecture. It's the difference between your shoulders, your hips, your waist. And it really doesn't change as you get older. However, menopause can change that. And so that's one big shift that I've noticed is that I have the shrinking waistline. And alongside that, more recently, it's the sleep and the alcohol. And so I know that I don't sleep well. And then if I drink alcohol, it really, keeps me up at night. Like I think I'm sleeping, but I don't feel I'm sleeping, that awake sleep type feeling. Yeah, it feels much lighter. And it used to feel so much deeper before. So, that, makes you feel exhausted. And, I haven't had really any brain fog, but I can probably see that that's where it's going to go with me because I'm sure that my brain's not going to, be functioning as I want it to as I'm going through this.
But do you feel you have a restorative sleep as well or you wake up fresh or?
Some days, but not every day.
I see.
Yeah. But I have my structure that, I'm trying to set my routine, like when I would set for my children when I was trying to put them on a sleep routine. So I'm trying to put myself on a sleep routine, which I think is really important.
It's key. It's absolutely key.
My sound machine's my best friend right now. Like immediately when I put on the waves, I feel like this fuzzy, warm, relaxing feeling coming, at me. But I think it's, the whole alcohol thing. I think many women experience it, this. I've heard this a lot from talking to my girlfriends.
It's quite common, yes.
Yeah.
We'll explain in different episodes why that happens. Definitely, we'll get through it. But
it's like you need to make a choice. Like it's the drink or the sleep.
Yeah, of course, because it stops you from sleeping, right? And
it does.
And it can make you feel so tired and so not yourself.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And definitely. So, we will talk about it more in details later, right?
Well, one thing I've done is because I am struggling a little bit, Sandra is the, functional practitioner. So she's taken my bloods and, we're going to talk more about how, I can, just help with the effects of perimenopause and just get ahead of it.
How to optimize your health and to feel better, not getting, not to get deeper into all those symptoms, right? Yeah. Because perimenopause lasts for 10 years. And I think women don't know. I mean, menopause is a state where you don't have your period for 12 months.
Yes.
So before reaching that state, you have at least 10 years where you're going to reach that moment where you don't have your period anymore. And you can experience so many different symptoms, so many random symptoms. You know, you can have like brain fog, as we said, sleepless nights, insomnia,
the skin,
weight gain, itchy skin. Yes, definitely.
Libido.
Yes. Urinary urgency or urinary leakage as well. You know, I know it's not a sexy topic, but
it's not a sexy topic, but it's reality.
Exactly. Frequent urination, palpitation, panic attacks, anxiety, tiredness as well. I think it's a big one. Fatigue. You know, so, and there are other symptoms, but like that you can get through. And every woman is different in terms of the intensity of the symptoms as well.
Yeah, it'd be so interesting if we knew before we hit perimenopause which symptoms we were going to get. Maybe maybe if there was more research around it, who knows, that, you know, women could be more prepared.
Yeah, there is research. There is a lot of research about it, but it's about bringing that knowledge to women.
Yeah, which hasn't been done so far.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I'm glad we're having the conversations. And, you know, I'm glad that age is people are recognizing that perimenopause and getting older is not the end.
It's not the end.
Yeah.
I think it's really a moment where we should leverage from all our experiences, from the wisdom that we have. And finally, acknowledging that, like, we went through a lot, we have experiences, and we can be true to ourselves. We don't need to live by the expectation of others anymore.
No.
You know, we have to reclaim that freedom.
Yeah. And, you know, I work with a lot of women who are very confused about their style. And, you know, it's funny. There's this like whole beigey, you know, aesthetic. Like, I'm wearing beige right now, but everything's beige and white. And, you know, people are dressing, women our age are dressing in a very similar way. And, you know, obviously we're all very different people. And so for my, you know, one of my biggest challenges is helping people figure out their style so they can feel authentic. And one thing I've noticed in a lot of women that I've been working with is that they're embracing more color. And, you know, they want to shine, which is great.
Yeah.
But, you know, on the same side, you see a lot of women who are feeling invisible and who are hiding. You know, maybe their bodies have changed and they're not ready to embrace their new bodies. So they're hiding under clothing and black, you know.
Yes.
Just.
So, Shabrina, what advice do you have for women struggling with like this self-confidence or body image during this time?
I think, you know, one of the biggest things is really looking at your body and finding parts of your body that you love, right? There may be areas, for example, my stomach, which I don't love as much, but there are other areas of my body which I can still highlight and make myself, you know, feel good about getting dressed.
So you mean, Shabrina, we have to stop focusing on what we don't like anymore.
Exactly.
Right?
When I ask, you know, I have a style survey I send out to clients because, you know, I want to find out more about them. And I actually do ask them, I say, tell me some areas of your body that you want to emphasize. And then tell me the areas, you know, where you may not want to emphasize. And I think that's really important information because we also have to know what we love. And it's okay to say that there's areas we don't love so much, but we need to start from a place of love. So it could be something, you know, like I love, you know, my neck, and this is something that I want to highlight more, you know, and we can give style solutions to do that.
I think sending yourself love and compassion is key, because I think we gave so much up to now to others, that love, that compassion, and it's about like turning inwards now and giving it to ourselves.
Yeah. The sad thing is, I also hear from, I do have like potential clients who don't end up working with me, but sometimes one of the reasons is I haven't lost the weight. So I will work with you when I lose the weight. And I say to them, you need to embrace yourself right now, right? Even if you just, buy yourself a few pieces and, find something that you love. Because when you see yourself in the mirror and you start to love yourself, then you're going to want to reach your goals.
May I share
right?
something with you?
Yes,
Shabrina?
please.
I gained some kilos, not at the beginning, just like recently. And I remember I was resisting. I was trying still to wear my clothes. But like I was feeling all tight in it and I wasn't feeling comfortable. And one day I woke up and said, you know what, that's enough. I'm going to do some shopping and I'm going to buy the right size, what fits me, and I want to feel myself again.
Yes.
And it's like
and how do you
life-changing.
feel now?
It's life-changing because like you stop. It's not like wearing something that doesn't fit you anymore, and then you feel like, oh my God, I need to lose those kilos right now at the minute.
But you're carrying that feeling with you when you're wearing those tight clothes.
Yes.
When you're looking
100%.
at them in your wardrobe.
100%. And you feel better. And then I bought like new clothes. I ended up losing the weight. You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
It's very
because
interesting.
that's what happens to your mindset, because you start to think of yourself more positively and you love yourself.
Yeah.
When you see, and I say to people, it's not forget the size on the tag. It's more about how it looks on your body. Could you give us a couple of tips how women can connect with their bodies and feel more empowered during menopause?
Yes, I would like to start with the very beginning. I want to almost track back, not giving you today tips about like what to implement. I think it's about awareness. Because I hear a lot of women saying, I didn't know I was going through perimenopause. I think it's very important to bring back that awareness to ourselves. So I think the first step would be really to pause, to take that time and to scan your body, your mind, and your emotions, and to realize what really changed, and to be able to face those changes. You need to know what's going on, not just like getting through thinking it's going to be okay, I'm going to deal with it. I don't need to deal with it. I just need to get through life with that no matter what. It's really like a mindset, but we're going to talk about mindset later, right? In another episode. But it's very much about scanning your body, your mind, and thinking, what is different today?
So basically looking at where you are right now.
Exactly.
And just identifying any changes you may feel. So it could be your period's changed, or it could be, like me, you're noticing the effect that alcohol has on your sleep, or you're not sleeping well, or your skin could feel a little bit different, or your stress levels. Oh yeah, my hair, that's one thing I noticed too. But yeah, it could be
the stress. You're right, the stress. So it could be I became hypersensitive. If someone tells me something, I take it personally and I start crying. Like at the end of the pregnancy with the hormones. It's a shame because we go through hormonal changes. So it could happen. What is it going on with you right now that you need to acknowledge?
Yeah.
I think this is the first step.
Yeah, that's a great first step.
And I had a client this week telling me, Sandra, coming to see you is the first step to take care of myself. I never took care of myself in my life. So that's interesting to hear, don't you think?
Yeah, it is. Because, we go back to it. It's women look after everyone else and they put themselves aside. The other thing that I was going to say is have the conversation about what you're experiencing with your daughters, with your girlfriends.
Definitely.
Talk about it.
Taboo, right?
Yes.
And this is what we want to bring through that podcast. But I think it's a societal subject as well.
Yes.
We need to talk around us. Our husband, partners, a boyfriend need to know what's going on.
Yes. I've already started having the conversation with my husband I'm just preparing him because I don't know if one day I'm going to start screaming at him.
I think my husband knows.
And he needs to know that I still love him, but
yeah, my husband knows.
Maybe a little cranky at times.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think it's important conversation, because like it is what it is, right?
It is. So it is what it is. But I think the more information people have, the easier any transition will be.
Yeah, this podcast is for men as well. It's not only for women. Men can listen to that to understand better what women are going through.
Yes.
It's not just a subject that should concern us as women. And it shouldn't only be for women.
Right.
Don't you think?
I agree. And especially in the workplace, I think women would feel more confident about having a hot flush or having brain fog in a meeting if, there was more clarity around, okay, this is just natural.
Yes.
This is something that happens. It doesn't mean that woman is, less competent for their job now they've hit 43 and menopause.
Yes, exactly. And what happened this week with the Globe, the
Golden Globes.
The Golden Globes. Thank you.
Yes.
This is my brain fog right now.
Right. It was pretty amazing.
Right.
It was pretty amazing. Traditionally, women are not celebrated at their age.
Look, Demi Moore.
Yeah.
Demi Moore. Amazing,
yes.
Right?
Yeah. There was women in their 50s, 60s and 70s all getting awards. And, Sandra, it brings me back. Like, I feel at this stage in my life more confident. Like at 47 years old, I feel more confident. I feel more wisdom. I feel that, more in tuned to who I am. And I have a willingness not to, to be myself unapologetically.
Exactly. This is the key word I wanted to use. I think like it's a time to be unapologetic.
Yeah.
100%. To be yourself and just not to care about the others. What they think or, it's about like removing that like pressure on ourselves. Because it's unnecessary. Isn't it? So if listeners could take away one message, Shabrina, about reclaiming their identity and self-worth, what would it be?
So I think we've discussed it that, women at, going through perimenopause tend also to feel invisible. Like there's this invisibility that's cloaked.
We heard that a lot. And I think it was one of the first keyword that we heard that like clicked in our mind and led us to the project that we are.
Yes. And I don't think we should feel invisible because I'm looking at you, Sandra, and when I look at you, I see a beautiful midlife woman who's glowing, right?
Oh, thank you. Thank you. That's so sweet of you.
You're welcome.
Same for you. I mean, like, you're amazing. You're an amazing woman, right? And we want all the women to feel the same way.
We do. And so I would say to our listeners, like something they could do from a style perspective is, put on like a piece of jewelry, instead of, even if you're wearing, your workout leggings and your top, put on some earrings, put on some lipstick, go and wear a color, go find a color and wear it because we don't need to be invisible. We're here, I would say, to, reclaim our power back.
100%. Agree with you.
And Sandra, what would you tell our listeners to do from a health perspective? What's one thing they can do immediately, something small?
I think it's about to accept that we are different. We go through a phase of life and there are different things that happen to us, but we are different. And then it's okay to be authentic. It's okay to talk about it. It's okay to share that. And even there is more work to be done in the workplace, this work needs to be done. Even with at home, I mean, like it's about putting boundaries, understanding that like whatever we were able to achieve before, maybe we were going over what we could do, but we had this energy. But today, this energy, we need to keep it for ourselves.
I like that.
So we need to put the boundaries where they need to be for ourselves to be able to function optimally through that period of life.
So I think what you're saying really is it's okay to say no.
Oh, yes.
And reserve that energy for yourself. And it's not selfish. So if you want to sit down and watch an episode of Bad Sisters, to revitalize your brain, that's fine.
Exactly. If you want to go you want to go to the gym for yourself, but you think you don't have time, maybe it's the time to take the time.
Yes.
You know, or if you whatever, if it's self-care, whatever it is, even if it's taking an hour to take a bath and putting a mask on your face and just re-energizing yourself, do it.
Yes.
Take that time. Take the time for yourself to go on a walk, to read, to whatever it is that you like. You know, doesn't matter. It's just like
do it.
Exactly.
What's one thing you do that for yourself every day, Sandra?
What I do for myself, I think I learned the hard way how to say no, and I do it now without like excusing myself. If I can't, I can't.
Yep.
You know, I take care of myself, like self-care routine. If I have to take an hour for myself, I take an hour for myself.
Yeah.
I go to walk every day, you know. And I don't want to compromise. I think I gave enough to others. Doesn't mean I don't give anymore, but like...
Yeah, you put yourself first too.
I want to keep that energy at the right level.
Yeah. So I think if our listeners could think about one thing they can do for themselves.
Yeah, this week.
Every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, every day.
But just even one thing.
Exactly.
Right?
It could be something very small, like having a cup of tea before you start your day in silence.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, just like everyone has his own like needs.
Exactly.
And so it's the first step.
We'd like to thank everyone for listening in today on our very first episode of Hormones and Heels. And thank you, Sandra, my co-host.
Thank you, Shabrina.